Here's another curated recipe from Mon Dessert, macarons. We have lots of flavours to choose from with these kits. From chocolate to something fruity, we've got something for you. First of all, you'll have to get on with your filling. This is important so that it has time to cool down and becomes a pipeable consistency. Most of the kits are made with a ganache base, so you'll have a sachet of chocolate, whether it's white chocolate or a dark chocolate, depending on the flavour. But then we also have caramel, where you'll be making your caramel right from scratch, adding your molten sea salt flakes. So once you've done that and you've cooled it down, you can leave that to rest. Then you can get on with your shells. It's really important that you have a well-ventilated oven. So if you don't have a fan oven, I recommend keeping the door open with a wooden spoon and having it at a slightly higher temperature of 150. But if you do have a fan oven, you can go with 120 degrees Celsius. You'll need a large baking tray, and then you can put your baking mat onto that, your macaron mat. If you haven't opted for one of those, you can also use parchment paper. But just note, if you're using parchment paper, your macarons won't take as long as it would on a mat because the silicone is slightly thicker. You'll have to get your piping exactly right. It doesn't sometimes always work out as a uniform shape. Then you need to get a piping bag and put the pointy end down into a tall glass. Slightly lift the bottom end upwards so the mixture doesn't fall through. Carefully separate out 60 ml of egg whites or aquafaba if you want to make a plant-based version, and a tiny bit of cream of tartar. Take your sachet of 40 grams of caster sugar, empty that into the bowl. If you are decorating your shells later, you might want to just keep aside 1 teaspoon of your sugar and pour on some boiling water and dissolve. This syrup can be set aside and you'll use this at the end to decorate. Now use an electric whisk and whisk the meringues on a high speed for about 5 minutes until you have very, very stiff peaks. So that means that your meringue stands upright when you lift the whisk out of the bowl. Sometimes it can take a lot longer if you're doing this by hand or a hand whisk and you don't have a stand mixer. So just keep going until you get that desired effect. Empty your ground almonds and icing sugar. Sieve out any obvious lumps. Now comes the crucial part of mixing the batter. Do this by scooping up the mixture with your spatula and pressing it back down into the center of the bowl. Repeat this action about 30 times, rotating the bowl as you go. With your spatula raised, you should now see a treacle-like ribbon of batter, which takes about 20 seconds to fall back into the batter. If it's thicker than this, fold again and recheck. It should be smooth, shiny, and no grainy bits should remain. When you have the right consistency, pour the mixture into the prepared piping bag. Pick up the bag with one hand on the nozzle end and the other hand sealing the open end with a twist. Pipe generous rounds in a circular motion 1 millimeter outside the inner circles of the macaron making mat. If you are using parchment, you'll need to do 3.5 centimeter diameter rounds on the parchment paper. Try a swirling motion from the center of the rounds to disperse the batter, or pipe to a 45-degree angle. Remove any air bubbles by tapping the mat firmly against your kitchen counter several times, rotating the sheet as you go. When complete, the macarons will form perfect circular rounds in the grooves of the mat. Let the macarons rest on your kitchen counter until the tops form a skin. They are ready to bake when you touch the tops of the rounds and the mixture doesn't stick to your finger. Depending on humidity, this will take around 15 to 30 minutes. Put your macarons in the preheated oven and bake for 20 minutes. Check if the macarons come away from the mat easily. If not, return them to the oven for 5 to 10 minutes. The easiest way is to take them off the mat is to flip the mat onto a tea towel so the shells are upside down and peel it away. Cool the macarons upside down for 10 minutes or until they are completely hardened. Now for the fun part, the assembly and decoration. Turn half the shells the right way up. Pipe a 10p sized blob of filling into each upturned half of the shells. Try to pair up the shells according to size to form sandwiches, and you want to twist rather than pushing down too hard, otherwise they might cause the shells to break. They are delicate little creatures. Your beautiful macarons are finished. You can enjoy them straight away, but they're even better 24 to 48 hours later. You can store them in an airtight container in the fridge and then bring them to room temperature before you serve them. You can also have your macarons stored in the freezer, and then you can bring them out to defrost and have them at any opportune moment when you've got guests and you want to surprise them. Have fun and just have a go. It is advanced, but the main thing is that you're having fun during the process.